This is 8.3. We're still analyzing geometric sequences in series. This is video number 4. We're going to write a rule given two terms. So far we've written a rule if you're given the first term and the common ratio. Then we wrote a rule if you're given some random term and the common ratio. And now you're just given two random terms. So let's see where this goes. Alright, so we're going to write a rule. We're going to start on number 7 here. Okay, and I'm going to hope I have enough room. Okay, I just write kind of big. So, we have the second term being 12, and the fifth term in the sequence will be negative 768. Alright, so there's some steps here. We need to find R. That's step 1 here. I'm going to write that down. We're going to find R. Okay? So I'm going to do this by writing a system of equations. So again, if this is an, then 2 is n. And I'm going to write it into that geometric rule here. So if I have, here, let me write the rule down in case we forget here. an equals a1 times r to the n minus 1 power. Okay? Alright, I'm going to say 12 is an, so I get 12 equals, I don't know a1, and I don't know r, but n would be 2, so 2 minus 1. Okay? Let's do the same thing for this fifth term being negative 768. So negative 768 goes in the place of an. I still don't know a1, I don't know r, and in this case, n was 5, so it's 5 minus 1. Okay? Alright, so I have a little system here, and I need to solve. And I'm going to find r first. But to do that, I'm going to take one of these equations, and I'm just going to take the top one, and I'm going to solve for a1. Okay, so a1 is actually going to equal, now this is r, and 2 minus 1 is the first power, so it's r to the first power. So if I solve for a1, I'm dividing by the r, so I get 12 over r. Okay? And I'm going to substitute that in to this other equation. Okay? So when I do that, I get negative 768 equals, and instead of a1 here, I'm going to write 12 over r. And then I have times r, and 5 minus 1 is 4 to the 4th power. So this is going to remind us of some rules that we had with exponents. When I have an r in the numerator and in the denominator, I subtract the powers. So I end up with negative 768 equals 12r cubed. Okay? Because 4, and remember if it doesn't have a power, its power is 1, so 4 minus 1 is 3. And then it's just solving. So from here we're going to divide by 12. Okay? And I get negative 64 equals r cubed. And to find r, we take the cube root of both sides. And we end up with r equals negative 4. Okay, so for my final equation, I have r now. Okay, but we need a1. So step 2 is find a1. Well, if r is this, we already solved up here that a1 equals all of this. So I'm going to take this r and I'm going to plug it in. So I have a1 equals 12 divided by negative 4. So I have a1 equals negative 3. Well, I have r, I have a1. Those are the things I need to write my rule. So that's the last thing. Step 3 is write your rule. So an equals negative 3 times negative 4 in parentheses to the n minus 1 power. All right, let's give this one more shot by doing number 8. Okay, Now it gave me the third term being 20, and the sixth term is negative 160. So let's start off by writing our system. Oh, let me write the rule over here. AN is going to equal A1 times R to the n minus 1 power. Okay? So if n is 3, AN is 20, so that gives me 20 equals A1 times R to the 3 minus 1 power. Then if AN is negative 160 when n is 6, so A1 times R to the 6 minus 1 power. Alright, remember we solved for A1, or I'm sorry, we're solving one of these for A1. Okay, I want A1 equals, now 3 minus 1 is R, will give me R squared. To get A1 by itself, I have to divide by that. So I end up with 20 over R squared. Okay? We're going to take that and we're going to substitute it in. Let me see if I find a better marker here. I'm going to substitute it in for A1 right here. Okay? So negative 160 equals 20 over R squared. I don't know why I put parentheses. You don't have to put parentheses there. But times R, and then 6 minus 1 is to the 5th power. So I have R to the 5th in the numerator, R squared in the denominator. You subtract the powers. So I get negative 160 equals 20 R cubed. Okay? And then it's a matter of solving for R. And this marker's bleeding. So I'm going to switch over to a thinner pen here. We'll see if this one works. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 20. So I get negative 8 equals R cubed. Cube root both sides. So we solve for R, and we get R equals negative 2. Alright, so we needed our R, which we now found. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it in up here into where I said A1 equals, so I can find A1. So I have A1 equals 20 over, and R is a negative 2, and that says it's squared. So that's 20 over 4, which is 5. Okay, so I now found A1, I have R, and I can write my final rule. So AN is going to equal 5 times negative 2 to the n minus 1 power. And now you can find any term in that sequence that you want. So now go to your practice and do problems number 34, 36, and 40.